Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you want to see next.
After telling Harold about attending the Grandmaster Conference, our hero goes into an empty room and looks outside through the window. At this time, there was a pot kept next to him that contained water. Immediately, he activates his psychic power and brings the water to himself through psychic power and says, "Let me test it once." Then he drinks the water and feels very good after drinking it, because this is spiritual water, which will increase his physical energy. This is the purest spiritual water in the world, sourced from the deepest part of the northern Lion Nation's mountains. After extraction, it must undergo over 100 complex refinement processes. Just this single pail alone is worth billions. Our hero spent a whole year without eating anything and only immersed himself in beast marrow fluid, so those years can be considered as his fast in a way. However, then the gate of that room opens, and many people start bringing different meat items one by one and keep all the meat items on the table. Right in front of that table, our hero picks up his spoon to eat the meat because he considers eating meat to be the best. After this, he pounces on the meat like a hungry man, and while eating the meat, he says, "For all these years, my mouth has been drinking only fluids and has become bland, but eating this meat feels very satisfying." While he is eating the meat, at that very moment, a lady brings a box and comes near our hero and says, "Esteemed Lord Saint, the Divine Seal has asked me to hand over this thing to you." After this, the girl opens the box. It contains 436 grams of energy crystal, upon seeing which our hero says, "It is good that Harold is honest with me." Then, while leaving from there, he says again, "When Harold gets ready to go out, inform me." Seeing our hero leaving, the lady says respectfully, "Goodbye, Marshal Saint." After this, the story shifts directly to the conference building of the Military Region Central of the Dragon Nation, where all the senior military officers are sitting. Hong Fei is also sitting there, holding a report in his hand, and says, "According to the latest information, Lu Sheng has completely recovered and has returned." Then someone asks if they can contact Lu Sheng now. In response to this, Hong Fei says, "No, right now, only he can contact us, but after tracking the signal, it seems that he is somewhere around the South Eagle Ocean." Then another military person says, "Okay, leave these things aside. Let's move on to the next topic. Shall we send people to participate in the World Grandmaster competition?" As Hong Fei hears this, he begins to think that in order to produce a Marshal Saint level power, the army sends elites to participate in the competition every year. Although they suffer repeated failures, they still enjoy it. But now that we have Lu Sheng, who is a certain future Marshal Saint, do we still have to participate in this bloody trial? Then another military person sitting in the room says, "Of course, why shouldn't we do it? We should not only participate in it, but we should give our all to it." The other guy sitting next to him also says, "I'm afraid maybe everyone has forgotten that for us, the World Grandmaster competition may be just a test, but in the eyes of the Marshal Saints, it is a playground for splitting energy crystals." Then the second one says, "In the past, our army has always fought for the interests of the 3 Marshal Saints of the Dragon Nation, and now we are going to do it for ourselves. So can't we do it for ourselves?" Everyone was ready to take part in the competition, and as soon as the senior saw everyone agreeing on the same thing, he laughed and said, "So it's fixed. The future god of our army is going to come back soon and will give us the glory that we have not had for more than 200 years. We should prepare a big gift for him." As soon as everyone hears this, they all become happy and shout in excitement, "It is time. We should shake these old bones a bit, have a big victory, and celebrate the return of our military god." After this, the story shifts directly to the peak of Marshal Saint Tower, where Tan Zhongyu is standing. One of his subordinates, sitting on his knee, says, "Lord Marshal Saint, the World Grandmaster competition is just half a month away. Should we prepare to leave?" To which Tan Zhongyu replies, "Yes." Then, after this, he brings some papers and says, "This is the latest information regarding that person about whom you had requested. Tan Zhongyu asks him to keep those newspapers aside and dismisses the man. Upon hearing this, the man starts leaving from there and takes permission to leave. While reading those papers, a light smile comes to Tan Zhongyu's face, and he says, laughingly, "Lu Sheng, you are actually still alive, and you will come back soon, broken but with determination. So are you going to succeed in becoming a martial saint?" Then he reads the next report, where he finds out that despite being at level 8, Lu Sheng injured Zhao Jai very badly, due to which he is being considered a world genius. Thinking about this, he wonders, did I make a mistake? Do I need to regret this? Then, throwing the paper, he says, no, there is no need for me to regret this. After this, he starts getting angry, due to which the energy of martial saint starts leaking from his body. Then, laughing, he says again, Zhao Jai is nothing more than old trash. I, Tan Zhongyu, became a grandmaster at 42 years old and became a martial saint at 80. When my martial avatar first appeared, it was 1,000 meters tall. I am better than Zhao Jai by more than 1,000 times. In a battle of life and death, I can slay him in just 5 moves. My will is like a golden knife, it shall cut through everything. What can the mere Lu Sheng do? So what if he is a genius? The aura coming out of his body takes a bigger shape and turns into an energy weapon in front of him. It was an energy-made weapon, which he holds in his hand as soon as he creates it and says again, I, Tan Zhongyu, will be the first man to leave this planet. As soon as he says this, he launches an attack called Heaven and Earth Slash. After this, the story shifts somewhere else, where Zhao Jai is taking a spring bath. A girl comes right behind him and says, Zhao Jai, are you going to the competition this time or not? As soon as Zhao Jai hears this girl, he turns back and angrily says, do you think I will be able to go there in this state? As soon as the girl hears this, she laughs and says, I was just asking you out of habit. Unfortunately, you will not get any share in the energy crystal for many years to come. Hearing this, Zhao Jai gets angry and says angrily, just don't forget to take the martial soul healing potion from the guide. Once it is in my hands, I will naturally pay you double the price for it. After listening to these things, the girl starts leaving and says, don't worry, even if you forget, I will not forget such good things. The forces of the earth are stirring. Powerful factions from all regions are making their way to the battlefield. Even some of those standing at the pinnacle of the mortal world are beginning to make their moves. This is a grand martial event involving the entire world. At the same time, it is also a gathering of gods among humans. So, friends, the chapter ends here. The sky was completely clear, but a whirlpool was being created automatically inside the sea, causing some of the fish to die while others were swept ashore due to the pressure. Suddenly, a foot was placed on the seawater, surrounded by a golden light aura. The one who created this commotion in the sea was none other than our hero, emerging from the whirlpool and stepping into the air. Due to his aura, stairs were forming with energy, and our hero moved forward by stepping on them. Everyone, including Harlod, who was watching this, was very surprised. As soon as they saw our hero so close to them, they bowed their heads in respect. Harlod thought that our hero had become even more powerful. Level 8? He says he is level 8? If he is level 8, then I can chop off my head and go with the Dark Star Martial Saint and the others. Guide. This is definitely at the level of a guide. Even if it is not, it is definitely close to a guide. All the people were bowing down while our hero remained in the air. After looking at them for some time, he descended and asked if they were all ready. Then, his eyes scanned the number of people present, realizing that, as far as he had thought, all the experts of the ring seal had been wiped out. Yet, in a short time, many people had gathered here. Then he looked at Harlod and thought that it seemed Harlod had gathered the people of the Black Demon Society and Dark Star. Harlod then said that everything was ready and that they could leave at any time, to which our hero replied, then let's go. After this, everyone boarded the plane, with Harlod sitting right next to our hero. Harlod watched our hero, thinking about something, while our hero held an energy crystal in his hand. The energy crystals have been completely absorbed, and the number of my immortal cells has increased to 278. The effects of the energy crystals are very good, as expected from a space-level resource, something even experts of advanced civilizations desire. At that moment, hot energy emanated from all around our hero, affecting Harlod greatly. Sitting next to our hero felt like sitting near a stove while eating hot food, with the sun blazing right behind him. It wasn't just hot, it was boiling hot. Every time Harlod breathed, it felt like molten lava. Just then, Lu Sheng suddenly said, "Harlod, do you think my punch can?" Before Lu Sheng could complete his sentence, Harlod fearfully interrupted, "Lord, there are still some energy crystals left from the Dark Star and Black Demon Society. I will give them to you immediately." Seeing him behave like this so suddenly, our hero was a bit surprised. But by then, Harlod had already taken out a bag of energy crystals from his pocket and presented it to him. Our hero then said, "If I tell you that I didn't even mean it, will you believe me?" However, now that he was getting more energy crystals, he did not refuse. Instead, while taking them, he said, "Okay, after adding what you gave me earlier, the total is now 1 kilogram of energy crystals. I must say, the ring seal is really very rich." After handing over the energy crystal to Lu Sheng, Harlod sat back in his seat, put his hand on his head, and thought, "I can't help but remember the old saying from the Dragon Nation, walking with the king is like walking with a tiger. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I completely do." While Harlod was thinking these things, he glanced sideways at our hero. As soon as our hero saw him, he smiled. At that moment, to Harlod, our hero looked like the Grim Reaper. Then another thought arose in his mind. When you are with someone who can decide your death at any time, it really is like being with the god of death. It is terrifying. On the other hand, our hero also noticed the hot energy coming from his body. Is it because my power has increased so fast that my control over many areas is still incomplete? In this situation, I need a major war. Only a very high-intensity battle will allow me to master this strength quickly. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to do the things normal people do. For example, if our hero kissed his wife in such a state, he would burn her mouth immediately. If he stayed with his family for a long time, he might roast his parents like food, which would be very strange for him. He needed extreme pressure to rid himself of these issues. The number of level 9 martial saints on Earth, as last counted by the guide, was 24. Now that our hero had killed or wounded 3 people, and, after adding Harlod, there would be 20 left. Could 20 martial saints really give him the pressure he needed? If 2 martial saints could not provide enough pressure, then at least 20 should. If not, then 30 would be enough. And if even that wasn't enough, our hero placed all his hopes on that so-called guide, who would surely give him the fight he needed. After half an hour, the plane landed on an island. Everyone disembarked, and Harlod explained, "This place is called Thousand Saints Island. The World Martial Association coined this name." As soon as our hero heard this, he laughed. "Thousand Saints Island. I must say, the martial saints are quite ambitious on Earth." After this, he asked what to do next. Harlod put his hands in his pockets and told our hero, "Before the conference, there will be an evening banquet. The main purpose is to provide an opportunity for martial saints to interact with each other while also presenting a list of items they wish to offer to the World Martial Association." He then took out an envelope from his pocket, which contained a list. Our hero read it. Life No. 3 soul nourishing liquid. It has a certain nourishing effect on the martial soul and can strengthen the martial avatar. Price, 2 kilograms of energy crystals per portion. Life No. 3 body tempering liquid. It has a certain tempering effect on the martial body and can strengthen it. Price, 2 kilograms of energy crystals per portion. After reading this, our hero asked, These items that can be exchanged are intended for martial saint level people. Even the cheapest item requires 1 kilogram of energy crystals. It seems like you aren't doing very well as a level 9 martial saint. You haven't even gained 1 kilogram of wealth after 100 years. Harlod, embarrassed, smiled and replied, "That is because I exchanged for some items earlier, so I don't have much left. But some martial saints I know have given me quite a lot of energy crystals. This time, I will collect my debts and give them to you." Hearing this, our hero smiled and thought, "This old fox is hiding something from me." Then his eyes fell on another item, a protection talisman for a level 10 fighter. Once activated, a level 10 expert would arrive instantly. The exchange price? 30 kilograms of energy crystals. After seeing this, our hero understood that Zhao Jai must have exchanged it for 30 kilograms of energy crystals at that time. After reading the list, our hero discarded it and thought about how well the plan to deceive everyone was crafted. Chapter ends here. After seeing Fiona, everyone in the party gets attracted towards her and surrounds her from all sides. After seeing this scene, Dong and his sister standing far away get surprised. Then Dong's sister gets completely shocked seeing Fiona's beauty and says, "What a beautiful person. It's as if she came out of a fairy tale." After listening to his sister, Dong smilingly tells her that, "Little sister, if your aura is very strong, then you will not lose to her." And after listening to Dong, his sister thinks, "Senior brother Dong is teasing me again. She is the darling of the World Martial Arts Association's president. I am not her match in terms of status and appearance." After thinking so much, Dong's sister tells Dong, "But you senior brother Dong, why don't you give it a try? You're a handsome young man from the Eastern Dragon Nation. Who knows, she might take a fancy to you." After listening to her, a scared smile appears on Dong's face. Sweat also appears on his face. Then he says, "Don't make me laugh. There's so many people here who are way more talented than me. I am nothing. I just stepped out of a traumatic shadow. I don't want to suffer a blow once again." As soon as Dong says that there are very powerful people present in this party, and this time I don't want to face the same fate as before, his sister smilingly reminds him of our hero and his fight. "I heard that Big Brother was beaten up by Lu Sheng before, and is traumatized by it. Should I comfort him and exchange the experiences of being beaten?" After hearing this from his sister, Dong gets very disappointed, and with his eyes closed and his face down, he starts remembering the match and also remembering his insult. My Dong family's 2 outstanding talents actually got beaten up by the same future brother-in-law. What a monster. If anyone truly deserves this girl, it's probably him. Then the moment shifts a bit and we see that the table is fully decorated and there are different types of things on it. Everyone is enjoying the party completely. Then the military men start laughing and joking with each other. Then one of them says, "By the way, the daughter of Cumberland, the president of the World Martial Association, has the right background, talent, and looks to match our military's future god. Should we send someone to interact with her? Indeed, that can be considered. There can never be too many gifts after all." After listening to his companion, the other military man completely disagree with what he said, and tells him, "No, our dragon nation has a vast population of hundreds of millions. Surely we can find a top-tier woman worthy of our military's god, worshipping foreigners." After listening to this from his companion, the other military man also agrees with him and smilingly says, "That's right. We can't let that lion nation Cumberland get any benefits. Besides, I seem to recall that our god already has a woman in his heart in the military. It's someone from Dong family." And after saying this, he continues his talk further and says, "Leave all this and let's change the topic and enjoy the party by sipping our drinks." And Fiona, sitting on the other side of the party, is getting very bored seeing such a boring atmosphere. Then she says to the girl sitting next to her, "I should not have come to such a banquet. I am not enjoying here at all." After listening to her, the girl sitting next to her says to Fiona, "You are the pearl of the world. A pearl shines even brighter with the world's praise." After hearing her praise from the girl sitting next to her, Fiona tells her that these people have called me here because of my status and not because of my beauty, and on hearing this, the girl sitting next to her starts smiling and smilingly tells Fiona, "But you will eventually be taken away by someone from royalty. Didn't Lord Cumberland talk to you about this?" Fiona gets very disappointed after hearing her partner's words and tells her, "What do you think? That great Lord Father of mine told me to find a person I like before the end of this competition. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to stop himself from making a decision for me." And as soon as Fiona tells this to the girl sitting next to her, that my father has asked me to choose a good boy before this competition ends, and on hearing this, the girl sitting next to her tells Fiona, "This kind of event will only happen once every decade. All the top geniuses of the world are gathered here. Fiona, I suggest you follow your father's advice. Even in this day and age, the best years of a woman's life are only a few decades." As soon as the girl sitting next to her tells Fiona that your father is absolutely right and you should do exactly as your father has said, Fiona starts thinking by putting her hand on her face and says that if I really have to find a partner for myself, then look at the person sitting on that chair. He should be exactly like him, and Fiona did that gesture not towards anyone else, but towards our hero who was enjoying the party. Then our hero feels that someone is observing him, and on the other hand, after listening to Fiona, the girl sitting next to her puts her hand on her face and smilingly says to Fiona, "That man is as good looking as you. If you don't want him, please let me have him." And as soon as the girl sitting next to her says that the boy is very good looking, "If you don't want that boy, then tell me, and I will talk to him," and on hearing this, Fiona gets a little scared. Sweat comes on her face. Then she tells the girl sitting next to her that I have not taken my decision yet, and I did not say that I don't want that boy, and after saying this, Fiona stands up in anger and goes to our hero. As soon as our hero notices that Fiona is standing next to him, our hero gets a little serious and starts thinking to himself, "Why did she come here? Don't tell me I was discovered. No, from the discussions of the military just now, she is the daughter of Cumberland, the president of the World Martial Association. Cumberland is probably one of the top-ranked martial saints on Earth. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to command the respect of everyone. I thought those jokes from the old grandpas in the military were a bit ridiculous. Why would I marry Fiona? But who would expect her to notice me instead? This is so bizarre. I already have Dong Kingsu. I don't want to have anything to do with this so-called flower of the alliance, the pearl of the world, but things often don't go as planned." And while our hero was thinking all this, Fiona standing next to him smilingly asks our hero, "Have you tasted all the things here? Do you want to give me any recommendation as to which thing is good and which is not?" And on hearing Fiona's words, our hero tells her that everything here is good, none is bad. As soon as our hero says this, Fiona bends down a little and asks our hero, "So tell me, what was the best thing here that you have eaten till now?" And as soon as our hero notices Fiona's body, his face turns red with shame and he turns his face to the other side, closes his eyes and pointing towards a meal, says that this thing is the best. And on hearing our hero's words, Fiona starts eating that meal, and while eating says that this is very good, and after listening to her, our hero's face becomes a little serious and he starts thinking something. Our hero and Fiona are talking to each other and Say and a girl standing on the other side are noticing them both. Then Say looks at our hero and tells to the girl that this guy looks very strong to me, and he looks young too, and do you have any idea where this guy came from? There are way too many geniuses in this world. Every once in a while, there would be new faces popping up. It really makes it hard for one to stay passive. After listening to Say, the girl standing next to him tells to Say, "That's right. Even a level 9 martial saint can also be pulled down from the pedestal." After saying this, the girl starts thinking something in her mind, and after thinking something, the girl gets very shocked and asks Say, "Do you think Lu Sheng is still alive?" And after hearing this, Say starts saying to the girl while pointing his hand towards the military man, "Didn't you see that even the old experts from the military came?" In previous generations, the military would send young rising generals mainly to train the younger generation of experts, while also helping them to compete for a share of energy crystals. But this time, it's different. It seems that they are preparing to fight for themselves and pave the way for Lu Sheng, the military's future martial saint, so Lu Sheng must still be alive. After listening to the whole thing, the girl starts laughing and says, "You are right. It is such a shame that Lu Sheng did not come here." Then Sei tells the girl, "If Lu Sheng really did come, then there will be no doubt that the empire will be victorious, and our dragon nation will get a larger share of the energy crystals." After hearing this from Sei, the girl asks Sei, "When do you think Lu Sheng will ascend to martial saint?" As soon as that girl asks Sei that what do you think when will Lu Sheng become a martial saint, Sei replies to her that no one knows this except Lu Sheng, and on hearing this, that girl gets very angry and starts saying to Sei, he could defeat Jai Dao martial saint at level 8. Once he becomes a martial saint, then wouldn't he be unstoppable? As soon as that girl says that if Lu Sheng become a martial saint then no one can stop him. After hearing this, Sei become very angry, and while pressing the fingers of his hand, he says, "You underestimate martial saint level experts too much. Lu Sheng is indeed strong, but for at least 100 years, the #1 expert in Dragon Nation will be our Lord and only our Lord. Not Jai Dao martial saint, not Kou martial saint, and not Lu Sheng." Then the moment shifts and we see Lu Sheng left the banquet halfway through. During the banquet, Lu Sheng and Fiona chatted for a long time. Many people looked at Lu Sheng with jealous eyes. Chapter ends here. Coming out of the banquet, our MC comes straight to the premier VIP box where he is enjoying his drink, and at this time Harold is standing next to him who praises our MC and says, "My lord, I heard that your charm has fascinated the pearls of the world." As soon as Lu Sheng hears his words, he looks at him and says, "So, you finally found out about this too?" Harold starts smiling as soon as he hears this. There is still fear in his mind, but he laughs with a forced smile and says, "I am afraid that this news has spread all over Thousand Saints Island." Our MC, sipping his drink, says, "It is me, your nephew, who has created this trouble for you. You are right." On hearing this, Harold remains silent for some time, then says seriously, "My lord, you know, as the president of the World Martial Arts Association and the chairman of the Western Martial Arts Alliance, there are quite a few 9th-level martial saints who want to establish a relationship with Cumberland. You are too dazzling now, and I am afraid you will become the target of public criticism." The way Harold was speaking, our MC understood the pressure on him, that it seems that he is under pressure due to the martial scent. Then he puts his drink on a table and laughingly goes to Harold and pats his shoulder and says that it is very good. "Tomorrow your dad will help you. We have to get our place back." The next day, our MC sets out to explore the island with Harold, and Harold takes him to various places on the island. He first takes our MC to the center of Thousand Saints Island, where there are total 30 different towers, and each one represents a martial saint, and this time 22 martial saints have come, which are 2 more than those mentioned earlier. Pointing towards this tower, Harold says that, "Sir, I will go up first." Hearing this, our MC just nods his head in agreement, and then immediately Harold jumps and moves towards that tower. And as soon as Harold leaves our MC and moves ahead, at that very moment many eyes start looking at our MC with killing intent. Feeling all those killing intents, our MC starts smiling and says with a grin, "The moment Harold left, so much murderous intent was focused on me at the same time. Beauty is really a disaster. If I were just Harold's follower, I would probably be dead at this moment." And in this, we see Fiona standing with a person who is watching our MC from above and asks Fiona, "Is this the same boy you have your eyes on?" This unknown guy is none other than World Wushu Federation President Cumberland. On hearing this, Fiona says, "Father, it was you who told me to choose my partner myself. I think he is very good and according to my liking in every way." As soon as Cumberland hears this from his daughter, he looks at her and says seriously, "Don't just look at your looks when choosing your life partner. His strength is okay, but he is Harold Hunian's nephew, who doesn't have a good reputation and his strength is average. You should replace him. This man is not good enough." After saying this, Cumberland starts leaving from there and Fiona calls out her father's name on seeing this. However, her father angrily says that keep quiet, nothing more, the conference is about to start. If he survives, then I will think about it again. When he said this, killing intent was coming out from all around him. Then after this, the conference starts. Everyone gathers in a big ground and the referee tells everyone that, ladies and gentlemen, the rules of the World Grandmaster Conference are as follows. Please listen carefully. Our MC also stands at one place and thinks that I had heard about this from Harold before coming here. This conference has a total of 2 stages. The first stage is to collect energy crystals in bulk. The rules are similar to military exercises. Players attack and compete with each other, and at the end they collect all the energy crystals they have obtained. Points are awarded based on the quantity. The second stage is the martial arts competition, which also uses a point system. The sum of the scores from the 2 stages is the total score of each side's martial arts strength. Lu Sheng starts thinking about it seriously and, while deep in thought, says, "I don't care much about the score. The problem is how to get 22 martial saints to attack me together, so I can feel the pressure I need and achieve the goal of melting my spirit and martial body." However, while thinking about it, he suddenly gets an idea of what to do next. Smiling in a very evil manner, he says, "I have firmly controlled all the energy crystals in my hands in the first stage, and I won't hand them over. This way, those martial saints sitting at the top of the tower will definitely jump up and try to kill me." Just imagining the scene of beating them all one by one is arousing Lu Sheng a lot, and there is a happy look on his face just by thinking about it. However, soon he controls himself again and smilingly says, "Let's start it. I cannot wait any longer." After this, everyone comes to the energy crystal collection place. Everyone is present there. In this, we see that man and girl who are standing very quiet. Then the girl with him looks at our MC and says that this boy with the ring mark is really brave. Despite being the target of so many people, he has the courage to work alone. Should we call him brave or stupid? In response to this, the man accompanying him says, "Don't worry about others, just take care of yourself. Don't stay too far away from me. Otherwise, there will be a risk of being robbed." Among these people, we see a martial arts team which is in very large numbers. Dong is also standing with these people. Then one of his seniors says, "Junior brother Dong, you lead a team and we will work separately. If there is any situation, report immediately." As soon as Dong hears this, he replies yes to working on this plan. After this, our eyes go to the military seniors. They are also making some plans. One of them says that I think we should find a place to loot, kill and commit arson. On hearing this, the other senior says that after working so hard to collect it, how can you snatch it from others so quickly? After this, both the seniors start quarreling with each other. One of them says that at least you should let others collect something first. Now what are you trying to grab? Now you will loot. Then the other one laughs and says that sure, first let them collect everything, and then we will loot them together. Along with these military men, soldiers of small ranks have come who stand together in a line and listen to the talks of these people. One of these men listening to them thinks that this man is not a big man in the army. He is just an old soldier. Leave these things. I want to go home from here. After this, we see our MC who has a map of this entire area in his hand, and looking at this map, he says that this map is very good. I can use my mental power to scan them and tell where the energy crystals are located. So should I collect some first, or should I go and rob other people? Although right now our MC does not have time to play with other people, he will deal with everyone later. After this, people set out to collect energy crystals. Everyone was on a different path. Some were busy looting others from the very beginning, while some were planning to rob others after collecting some energy crystals. In this, we see some people chasing Lu Sheng and say that this child is really very smart. He ran away so quickly in front of our eyes. Then the man next to him laughed and said, "You can escape for a while, but not forever." How can anyone dare touch the noble Miss Fiona? This time, he must not be let go alive. At the time when everyone went out to collect the energy crystals, many people gathered on the tower of Thousand Saints Island. One of them asked why Dark Star and Lei did not come together this time. Then another guy who is standing next to Harold laughs and says that I am afraid that this time I will eat too much, due to which my stomach will burst, and then he looks at Harold and asks, "Did I not say the right thing, Harold?" On hearing this, Harold looks at him angrily and thinks that they do not even have time to come because they have already been fed to the fishes. It is unlikely that it will be your turn soon. Lin Wanwen also stands among these people and asks her mother why so many people are targeting a martial arts saint. Then the girl's mother tells her that everyone wants to become Cumberland's son-in-law, but not everyone is qualified for it. Then the girl asks in a little surprise that is it not enough for you to have the support of a martial saint, to which her mom replies that if it was an ordinary martial saint, then it would have been enough, but unfortunately he is Cumberland. The president of the World Federation is not only the most powerful, but he is also firmly ranked among the top 5 on the planet. Harold is only the last ranked martial saint, not to mention his nephew. How could he get this position? Hearing this, the girl understands and says it is sad, but that boy is very handsome. I thought they both are a good couple. Then he comes to his mother and asks if you were in his place, would your face be worthy enough? On hearing this, her mother asks, what do you mean by saying this? Then the girl says that I had earlier encouraged senior brother Dong to date Fiona. On hearing this, her mother angrily hits him on the head and says don't do this again in future. After this, we see our MC who is searching for the energy crystal by going inside the depth of 8,000 seas, and after looking at the device he understands that if the device emits light, then it means that he has found the energy crystal. The Spark Resource Library explains that energy crystals are a type of energy crystal that extends from the center of a planet to the surface. Just like the blood flowing from a wound and the gum in a tree trunk, it is a renewable resource in a sense. Our MC now starts collecting the energy crystals, and while doing so, he laughs and says, because it was the first time collecting them, there were especially many, but they became fewer with each collection. No wonder they have to be gathered once every 10 years. However, our MC wants to collect as much as possible, the more, the better. He has no intention of giving it all away to anyone. The greater the wealth, the more it can stimulate the martial saint's greed, and greed is the ultimate motivation. Only through inspiration can our MC find the strength he has come here looking for. So he doesn't want anyone to be disappointed, and he also doesn't want the warriors present here to disappoint him. When he was collecting these energy crystals, there was a smile on his face thinking about the fight ahead. So friends, chapter ends here. Lu Sheng enters the sea and starts collecting energy crystals, and by doing so the whole sea gets disturbed, and when he comes up, he tears the sea apart and comes up and lands directly on the water. He had a bag in his hand which was filled with energy crystals. Our MC has put all the energy crystals in a bag to show everyone as it is time for him to move on to the next step. And then immediately after that he moves his hand forward and starts covering the whole area with his mental energy. After using his power, our MC felt a very good change in his body. Seeing this, he says, after using the energy crystal, my crystal visualization method has been greatly upgraded, turning into a purple crystal humanoid, and my mental power has become much stronger. However, he doesn't know if his mental strength has reached level 9. But it's definitely much higher than level 8, and it's unique in both quantity and quality. Our MC detects some people in the mental energy that he used to cover the entire area. There were 4 or 5 people, and all of them had a bag of energy crystals in their hands. After detecting them, our MC decides to start with them. Now our MC wants to play with them, and this is not a good sign for all of them. Soon after this, our MC disappears from the sea as if he has turned into air, and soon after this we see those people, and one of the guys from their group who was smoking cigarette asks, "How much do you have?" To which the girl replies that I don't have much, just over 100 grams. There were some other people in the group who started talking about their energy crystals. One of them said, "I think I have less than 100 inches, and another said, "I have more than 300 inches, to which the smoking guy replied smilingly, "That's great. I also have more than 300. Overall, their weight would be around 3 or 4 kilograms. After this, the smoking guy says that the first time we were able to get only 2 or 3 kilograms of energy crystals, but this is more than the first time. As soon as the people with him hear this, they all become very happy. And he says happily in excitement that there is still a lot of time left. If I am lucky and can grab some kilograms of others, then it is possible to break through 5 kilograms. However, then someone interrupts and says, "You have not told me yet what will happen if someone robes you." Hearing this voice, the people present in the team laugh and say, "How is this possible? We are all united in Minjutang, and the team is led by senior brother Xing Yukong. Then who can robe us?" Then the girl standing with them also interrupts and says that this cannot happen, and who is saying this nonsense. As soon as people pay attention to this, they turn back and look at the person who said this, and as soon as they look back, they find our MC there, that this is the same guy who was with the ring mark. Seeing our MC, they were unable to understand that this man has so much courage that he has come alone against us. Then the leader of the group comes forward and says, "Very good. It seems that you are very confident about your abilities." After this, both of them stand face to face, and the energy of their martial saints starts colliding with each other. The martial saint energy of both of them was colliding with each other in beast form. Meanwhile, our MC says that I am very confident. And as soon as Lu Sheng said this, he had already passed the leader of the group and moved ahead. Seeing this, the group leader was very surprised. He did not understand what had just happened. He was just surprised and felt something changing inside him, and suddenly all the clothes on his body got torn, and he fell on the ground. Seeing their leader falling on the ground like this, the people of his group get very shocked. The girl standing in the group calls out the leader's name and says, "Did he just play a trick? How did senior brother fall?" Then someone else says, "Can't we even see clearly now?" After this, the girl starts looking at our MC carefully, and his eyes seem familiar to her. She begins to recall a scene where she had seen similar eyes before. She starts seeing Lu Sheng's image within this stranger, and as soon as she realizes it, she exclaims in shock, "This is him. This is Lu Sheng. How can he be here? Is this even possible?" Then after 10 minutes we see a group of people who have energy crystals, and our MC stands right in front of them and angrily tells them to give him all the energy crystals they have. As soon as they see this stranger in front of them, they get very scared, and our MC's energy was also looking very scary at this time, feeling which these people do not dare to do anything. Instead, they sit on their knees and present their energy crystal in front of our MC, saying, "Take our energy crystal." Our MC takes the bag of energy crystals from his hand with his psychic energy, and there was a kilogram in this bag, which makes our MC very happy, and he orders this person to leave from here without causing any harm, in response to which this person respectfully thanks our MC. Then, after this, the person jumps from where he was standing and, while falling, says, "How terrifying this is. How extremely terrifying. Just a few minutes ago, there was an entire team of people in this place, but he defeated them all in no time. And now, only a big hole is left here. Everything has evaporated. It would be best to leave this place. We can no longer stay in this competition." The way our MC is working right now and collecting energy crystals, he is finding this process very slow, because searching people one by one and snatching energy crystals from them is seeming like a very troublesome task. So he was thinking of calling all of them together by some means. To attract everyone into his trap at once, Lu Sheng immediately uses his psychic energy to take out all the energy crystals from his bag. He then starts merging them all together, and to him, this process felt exactly like a drone show. Within a few minutes, he had combined all the energy crystals to create one massive energy crystal, which was so huge that anyone could see it from a distance. However, for Lu Sheng, this was still not enough because only the nearby people could see this energy crystal. It was not eye-catching enough, so he thought of adding some extra special effects to it. After this, he infused energy into the crystal, causing a very powerful energy surge to emerge there. And after doing this, he starts waiting for the people to come into this trap he has laid, saying, "Come quickly, I cannot wait." After this, the story shifts to Thousand Saint Island, where every step of the people was being monitored through drones, and in this we see Fiona who screams and says, "Why can't I see that man's picture? Keep changing it until I find him." After changing the picture again and again, finally the image of our MC appears on the screen. Seeing this, Fiona becomes very happy and asks to stop the picture right there. After seeing Fiona like this, the people around start talking among themselves. It seems as if this pearl of the world cares a lot about the handsome boy with the ring mark. Other people present in the room also start whispering that it seems that it is beyond his capacity to surpass Lord Cumberland's level, and in the midst of this Cumberland also stands who, seeing all the people suddenly going to one side, asks others that what happened suddenly in this map. Why are all the people gathering at one place? Everyone quickly looks at the map on the screen where they can detect that all the people present in the competition are gathering at one place. Everyone was surprised to see this. Even Cumberland was unable to understand what was going on there. So friends, chapter ends here. Our MC places his hand on Tang's head, creating a reaction as if he is about to crush his head completely. The moment our MC does this, Tang becomes extremely terrified and, trembling with fear, says, "No, no, I will pay for this." After that, everyone present there starts taking out bags of energy crystals from their pockets, saying, "Yes, we will also pay. We have no desire to die either." After this, Lu Sheng activates his psychic energy and says, "Yes, you all have made a very good decision." Immediately, he activates his psychic energy and starts pulling the energy crystals from the bags in everyone's hands towards himself. Using his energy, he gathers all the extracted energy crystals and once again creates a massive energy crystal in the sky. After doing this, he laughs and says, "Well, that's it. The warm-up is over, and now it's time to head back." After that, he jumps and starts flying out of the area. Down below, all the people from whom our MC had taken the energy crystals were still standing. As he leaves, he laughs and says, "The siege of the martial saints is a magnificent prelude to battle, one that is truly going to be thrilling." As our MC leaves, the people standing below breathe a sigh of relief and say, "Are we really still alive? Is it true that he let us live just in exchange for energy crystals?" Our MC demonstrated such a power in front of all these people that fear is still clearly visible on their faces, and no one is moving forward to get it despite seeing that huge energy crystal in front of them. Standing among them, Dong also speaks seriously, too terrifying. It's unimaginable that such a monster exists at the 8th level of the Grand Sect realm. Clearly not even at the 9th level. Yet he brutally slaughters top-tier Grand Sect masters as if they were mere dogs. It's beyond comprehension. Then, he started sensing the exact same vibe from this ring-marked person as he did from Lu Sheng. Feeling this, he spoke again. "Until today, I have only ever seen Lu Sheng display such power. So, can we compare him to Lu Sheng?" Thinking about this in amazement, he smiled and continued, "Now that I think about it, my past ambition of dominating the martial world and proving myself invincible was utterly ridiculous. There are far too many people in this world who are 10 times or even 100 times stronger than me. It's a pity that Lu Sheng isn't here, or else this person wouldn't have had the chance to be so arrogant. A monster can only be restrained by another monster." When our MC leaves from here, people start talking among themselves in fear that he has gone. Then the military guy says that he took away all the energy crystals and went away. It is difficult to imagine that such a demon will be seen in the West. Saying this, the military man became angry and continued his talk again. If Lu Sheng, the future god of our military, were here, maybe we could compete with him. Then, the bald man standing beside him also spoke angrily. What nonsense are you talking about? If the future god of our military was here, he would crush this guy like a dog. No matter how powerful this brat is, he can only act arrogant in front of us. Does he dare to provoke the martial saints? All the military seniors were furious. At that moment, the first man walked up, placed his hand on the bald man's shoulder, and laughed. You have a point. To be honest, before coming here, I was afraid something might go wrong, so I secretly hid a portion of my energy crystals elsewhere. Compared to those who lost everything, I still have quite a lot. Besides, we got lucky. Almost everyone got beaten up, but we only got lightly touched. Haha. This proves that our luck is soaring, turning misfortune into fortune. Come on, let's go, let's drink. After this, everyone starts leaving from here. Now these people have nothing left, so they are leaving from here disappointed. But there is a little happiness in their heart that we were not killed, we were left alive. After this, the story directly shifts to the Martial Saint Tower of Thousand Island, where everyone was very surprised to see the power of our MC, and at this time all the people present in the tower were standing surrounding Harold. Then one of them asks Harold, "Is he really your nephew?" Harold, surrounded by all of them, was not saying anything. He was completely silent. Then suddenly a voice is heard which interrupts everyone and asks what is going on here. The one who said this was none other than Cumberland. He too comes to Harold and asks Harold what has happened to your nephew. At this moment, everyone on the screen is watching our MC's every movement and continuously discussing him. Then, someone says, he hasn't even reached the 9th level, yet he holds near absolute dominance among the 8th level. This can no longer be described as mere talent. Hearing this, another person responds, in the future, he could very well stand on equal footing with the noble elites among the martial saints. A third person adds, it's truly hard to imagine that such a genetic lineage comes from Harold's family. Among these people, Fiona is standing right next to her father. At this moment, her father appears extremely tense, and from his expression, it seems as if he is not happy. Seeing this, Fiona asks, "Father, despite such extraordinary talent, what else are you dissatisfied with?" In response, her father speaks seriously. His character and personality still need to be assessed. We must wait for his arrival. Nothing can be said for certain yet. The moment Fiona hears this, she becomes extremely happy. Overjoyed, she starts jumping and exclaims, "That's a fantastic idea, Father." Lin Wanwen, standing in the middle of these people, comes to her mother and says that the eldest brother could not survive even one of that boy's tricks, and even he took pity on them and spared them all. Lin Wanwen's mother was also a bit serious seeing this, and says seriously that if I had not seen it with my own eyes, it would have been difficult to imagine that there are talented people of this level in the world. But what can I say in comparison to that person? Time is moving very fast, and all kinds of monsters who are beyond perception and break traditions are emerging one after the other. I have really become old. Then Lin Wanwen says, "Mom, are you talking about Lu Sheng? I heard that in the past, Lu Sheng was even noticed by Minju Martial Saint and was almost accepted as a final disciple. Is that true?" In response, Lin Wanwen's mother glances sideways at Tan Zhongyu and says, "Tan Zhongyu, known as the Minju Martial Saint, has discovered many hidden talents in his lifetime. Yet, he alone failed to recognize the unparalleled gem that is Lu Sheng." She then adds, "And I think he still regrets it to this day." As the two of them were discussing this, more people watching our MC's performance became increasingly serious, realizing the true extent of his power. The tournament was about to come to an end. After looting everyone once, Lu Sheng left the excavation site, and the remaining participants hurried to collect the last bits of energy crystals. However, the majority had already been taken by Lu Sheng. The total amount of energy crystals gathered by all the remaining participants combined was only 132 kilograms, barely 1/5 of the usual amount from previous years. All the martial saints gazed into the distance over the sea, but they all knew the truth. The real treasure lay in the hands of that young man, who stood like a king. Yet, despite their anticipation, his figure was nowhere to be seen. And at this time, some people standing next to Harold inside the Saint Tower tell him that he crushed the bracelet. Did he run away from here? He is your man. If something like this has really happened, then you will have to take full responsibility for it. Harold, listening to this, is completely silent. He is standing quietly and listening to all these people, seeing him not saying anything. People tell him, "Why are you silent? Say something." At this moment, we see Harold's expression. He is neither calm nor relaxed. Instead, he looks absolutely terrified. Sweat drips from his face, and the veins on his forehead are bulging from fear. Yet, in front of everyone, he tries to maintain a cool and composed demeanor. His throat is dry, and no words come out due to sheer panic. Listening to the conversations around him, he starts thinking to himself, "No way? You guys are asking me about this? How would I know? He's nothing less than an untouchable, monstrous dragon. If he really takes those hundreds of kilograms of energy crystals and leaves, what can I even do? This is bad, really bad. They all believe that Lu Sheng is my nephew. If things go south, these martial saints might just tear me apart with their bare hands. Lord Lu, please, hurry back." Meanwhile, Tan Zhongyu, standing in the middle of all these people, says that there is no need to worry. He is coming right here. At the same time, we see Lu Sheng, who is moving ahead at full speed with that big energy crystal in his psychic energy, and in a short while, he reaches the island and places the energy crystal there. As soon as everyone sees this, they say in surprise that what a huge energy crystal this is. As soon as our MC reaches the island, an examiner comes and starts measuring and weighing our MC's energy crystal and tells that after measurement, the total weight is 545 kilograms. Everyone looking at it says that this is very good. Seeing our MC's performance, Cumberland also speaks up. "Young man, you did an excellent job." As he says this, he begins thinking to himself. This time, the collected energy crystal share is at least 500 to 600 kilograms. That's nearly 50% more than the last tournament, which means that the share of energy crystals distributed among those present will be far greater than ever before. After this, Cumberland asks our MC, "Your brilliance is undeniable. The ultimate victory and glory will surely belong to you. Tell me your name. You are worthy of being remembered by everyone here." At this moment, Fiona is also standing beside her father. Her expressions make it clear she has completely fallen for our MC. Despite standing right next to her father, she excitedly exclaims, "It's him. This is the man I, Fiona, have chosen." Hearing his daughter's bold words, Cumberland shoots a sideways glance at her, his expression sharp and unreadable. Meanwhile, everyone present on the island begins to murmur in agreement. "Only he is worthy of claiming the brightest jewel in my crown." All the people standing on the island were a little amazed and jealous after seeing this performance of our MC, and were talking among themselves that this handsome boy with the ring marked will reach great heights in the future. Then someone else says, "This is very good. I never got this kind of treatment when I was the big boss." After remaining silent for a moment, our MC smiles and says, "Respected Martial Saint of Cumberland, before I reveal my name, I have a small question. I would like to hear the esteemed opinions of everyone present. May I ask?" Hearing this, Cumberland responds, "All right, if you have a question, ask it directly." Then, our MC, playing along with his own theatrics, respectfully bows his head and says, "Thank you, Your Excellency. I just have one small question. All of you here are truly pathetic." The moment everyone hears his words, they are completely stunned. Standing nearby, Harold is utterly shocked. His face turns pale as if his soul has left his body. Fear grips him as he realizes what has just been said. Meanwhile, Fiona, standing beside him, covers her mouth in disbelief, eyes wide with shock at our MC's bold statement. Then, with an evil smile, our MC continues, "Why do people like you, who are so pathetic, still get to sit atop your high towers and call yourselves saints?" So friends, chapter ends here.